I know that plastics, when you use them, I just wanted to tell everybody again, there's a little triangle on the bottom of a plastic container, and it'll have a number. And the number will tell you the safety of the plastic that you're using, such as your water bottle or whatever. If you guys have a water bottle there, look at it. Never use, it says 3, 6, or 7, that the 1, 2, and 4 are okay, but just don't reuse them. 5 is the safest and you can reuse. So plastics are trying a little bit, and never leave your water bottles in the car in the heat and then drink the water.
Right. I very early on was pulling pieces out of people, and I'm like, what is this? And then it turned out it was little pieces of plastic I was getting out of them. That's the body's way of spiraling up all those plastics and getting them out. When I went to Metametrics, I took their course, and I was there because of the oil spill, because I knew they were doing VOC panels on a lot of these guys. And I walked into the room, and there must have been 20 people that came up to me and said, "Are you the Morgellons nurse?" And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, I'm here for the oil spill. but you know, you had to be. But I was by the end of that course, I was so excited. I was jumping up and down that finally people in that room got it. Now, there were a lot of people that were like, this is not the way we were trained.
Yeah.
And they were really gnashing and gnawing at each other about what they were going to do about their practices because they weren't used to environmental medicine.
Right.
But I think that the other thing people need to look out for in their homes, too, there's a place on the Metametrics website, and it's called the Toxic Home.
Yeah.
And look at how many toxins you have in your home. I mean, even from toothpaste, some of them are very, have a lot of toxins in them, from makeups. My goal when I invented my patent was to have the best out there and the least endocrine-disrupting skincare. And I think now that I've accomplished that, and I don't package in plastic jars, I think now that I've accomplished that, now it's time to move forward into other ventures. And I think that people need to be educated about toxicity, period. Dental amalgam. They need to learn how to detox, too. And these are things that you can do with just a couple tests. And what would be the 2 tests that you would recommend, Pam?
I can't recommend anything,
but
that's
right.
On Metametrics pages.
Right.
And Metametrics, Trish, I was just sitting, and it was true, I was sitting and just musing about how far things have come in just 3 years.
I know.
We have labs that recognize Morgellons. We have doctors, and we have referral system for doctors through Metametrics, through Great Plains Labs. Any of the functional medicine labs are going to refer people to these doctors that are functional medicine integrative specialists. And they will treat the body, and Metametrics will know what Morgellons is. And I have to believe that it has spread that many of the other functional labs know what it is. So if you call Metametric Labs and say, I believe I have Morgellons, they will not laugh at you, but they will give you a practitioner or some idea of what they would like you to try to do first.
Right.
So they will recommend the GIFX PCR DNA testing, which is a stool test, and they'll also recommend the urine test, which is the oxidative stress test. The urine test will show many imbalances. That's what they recommend. If you are going through a doctor, they will do that. They will recommend doctors to people, too, through their lab. And they have a page with articles, and they have a page with testing. They have examples of testing, what it shows. They have examples on their website of toxins, what they do, and articles and audio. It is the most wonderful site for learning about all this and redirecting your life in the way that you need to go and finding some help.
That's wonderful. And I think that there is a program at USF here in Florida in environmental medicine. They just started it, and it's about $50,000 to get your master's in environmental medicine. And they talk the talk and they walk the walk over there. And there was a very interesting case study that they presented, and it was one of their own PhDs. And he kept coming back positive for phthalates. Now, phthalates are what is leaching out of plastic, which are endocrine disruptors. So this guy, they did a a lab test on him for phthalates, and it was off the charts. And they found out why it was off the charts just from having those air fresheners made from fragrance oils that plug in his home. That's why he tested so high for phthalate, because fragrance oils are up anywhere from, I think the last study I saw, anywhere from 200 to 6,000 chemicals in order to make a fragrance oil. So I tell people, stay away from fragrance oils. They're dangerous.
Tricia, can these
about antihistamines? Did you say there were findings?
Well, this doctor, the doctor that I spoke with, who has been seeing these patients for a long time, told me, because I put together the toluene connection with him, and he said to me, and guess what? Guess what else is dangerous? I said, what? And he said, antihistamines. I said, really? And he said, yep. He said, you need your histamine because those things show you what's going on allergy-wise. But also, you can go to the health food store, and they have sublingual herbal antihistamines.
Antihistamines.
Antihistamine.
Yes. The histamines are in...
He said the chemicals in them are dangerous. And,
Tricia, you were talking about the endocrine disruptors. Now, a lot of men are developing secondary, man boobs, is what they're calling them.
Absolutely.
And these can come from these endocrine disruptors.
Why are girls starting their periods at 10 years old? Come on. It's because they're endocrine disrupted.
Right.
And if you go to the Certichem website, it tells you. And I've had my products tested by Certichem, and they came out really well. So the bottom line is that endocrine disruption is rampant in this country. I think everybody's just about endocrine disrupted. And I think there's a lot of endocrine disrupted in the condition we call Morgellons, a lot of it. That's why, Pamela, what have you done for yourself from your own perspective that has really, really helped you?
Which respect? Just the all-over view of everything? Or I just watch my diet, pH balance. I watch the stress. I watch my exposures to any of these things that we listed. I make sure that these things are out of my environment. I test and retest periodically to see where my balances are, clear away bacteria, fungal effects. I see if there are any things that are imbalanced, such as adrenals, thyroid, hormones. I rebalance. And so it's a constant rebalancing for me. That's what I do, and I try to keep in check all of these things within my environment. And, your diet is all important. If you go off and eating sugars and things like that, and big culprits are drinks when you go out and go driving or something, having all this sucrose in them and things like that. I watch all those things and try to keep those things out of my area. And I watch what I use on my skin and my hair. And I love your skin balm and your spray. You're welcome. Because they're very healing. And if you have an outbreak, the spray itself keeps it from, in my opinion, it kept it from spreading on me. And so those are the things that really help me. And you do it periodically. I am very, very careful about not piling things into my body just because someone else does it. I don't do that. I do it according to testing, what my body's shown. Trish and I did not make this up, that we just decided we wanted to have a name, so we are going to make up this process where you clear biofilm and you rebalance the terrain or you rebalance your body. This is a process that most of the excellent holistic practitioners will follow, and it is a process of rebalancing, watching your environmental exposures, and learning. I love how much, that is a part of the internet world that I really love. I love learning. I love research. I love how much people have taken control of their own health and have, as Nancy Guberti, my dear friend, would say, become their own best health advocates. I love to read about what Metametrics has. I am like you, like the blogs. I don't like it. People are telling people to spray themselves with horrible, poisonous things, and that is part of why we stick to it, Trish, is because I don't want somebody hurting themselves like that and doing horrible.
We've had a few suicides. We've had a few suicides. Very early on, I had two people that came to me, and they went to some doctors, and they actually gave one of them chemotherapy. And she was so sick from the chemotherapy that they gave her that she hung herself, and her 18-year-old son found her. Then I had another little girl that was a nurse. She committed suicide. And very early on, I don't think we know how many suicides there have been because these people didn't get validation. I know there was a mother that told her story about her son and that he had committed suicide because of this disease. So this is the light. Now it's time to bring it to light. And I always say you can take a 10,000 square foot warehouse that's dark, you can light one match and you can illuminate that whole warehouse. And I think that now that we're shedding light onto the condition and we're taking away, I think it's so important to take away the fear, the absolute fear. And you taught me something when we spoke yesterday. Whenever a friend calls you and you talk to them, the first thing you say is, what are you doing for yourself? And I used that 3 times today, and that was wonderful. Just to be able, just to open it up and say, I'm pregnant. One of them, a little girl called me pregnant. She's pregnant. And I told her, you need to find yourself somebody, call Metametrics and see if there's anybody in your area because you are pregnant. And I'm not about to, I don't do pregnant. And so there's young girls that are getting this too, and young boys. What I've noticed, it's more nurses and more teachers reporting to me and more vet techs, a lot of vet technicians reporting to me. And I think we'll find that when we really, really dig down and we get the information, because a lot of people don't like to share information, Pam, as you've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to share information because, first of all, they don't want to be labeled. And secondly, if they share their information and if somebody doesn't agree with it, then they get called names by other people in the community. But I think that getting this community mobilized is like herding cats because there's so many warring factions.
Trish.
Yeah.
Pam, we're going to drop away for several minutes worth of commercials and station breaks, okay? So I'll put you in the back room, and I'll pull you back on when we're ready, okay?
Okay, cool.
All right.